Minutes, 4 minutes. Jeff, we'll have you go first. The whole idea of this is to have not really even conversation, just whatever your message is. Tell us your story. We're going to, I've had so many people ask to be on the call. We're going to have, kind of double the pleasures today having both you guys on here. There's no right or wrong. There's no big questions. I think if we each take, 8, 9 minutes, 10 minutes if you need to, I'm not going to cut you off in the middle of a thought. That's for sure. I won't cut you off at all. Remembering that the people that are listening are probably the people in the world that are, going through some challenges in life, more from a place of their external, not their hearts. I mean, these are some God-loving people. So the whole idea of this call every 2 weeks is to create a smile. So I have people like yourselves that have powerful personal messages, and whatever it is. I don't have an opinion on what it's going to be. You just kind of share what's on your heart, and I'll start. Jeff, I'll introduce you. You just talk. I'll ask you at the end, Jeff, what last thought would you want people to kind of leave the call with to make their day a little bit better? And then Lebo, I'll introduce you and our experience in South Africa, and then you just kind of talk as long as you want. And that's it. Pretty simple. No big deal. We've had some, real good successes, and people ask me, what's this call all about? And it's about creating a smile. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's where we're at. So I appreciate you both being here. When it's over and done, We'll be promoting it out there on social media and, doing what we do with stuff. So that's kind of the thing. He's going to tell me to get started here in shortly. He's messaging me. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Smile. My name is Joe Mittiga, and I'm just really excited to be here. I have a couple of awesome guests that I'm going to introduce here shortly, but I want to just make a couple of announcements. This live stream is all created around my legacy project called projectsmile.world, where we offer free education to the globe. And if you know people that are interested, please send them. Our live stream has had a tremendous amount of support. Last 2 weeks ago, we do it every 2 weeks, the 1st and the 15th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And I always have to say that because it's 10 a.m. Eastern US time. And it's amazing because I've had some confusions, because this is really a global event. Our two guests kind of represent two different parts of the globe. Lebo in South Africa and Jeff in Australia. So that's very cool that we've literally got the globe circled. I believe it's 10 a.m. here, and when I have Jeff introduce himself, I think it's 10 p.m. where he is. So it's just amazing what technology allows us to do. And a couple of really quick announcements are, my goal when it comes to projectsmile.world is to educate people, and we've got multiple sections on it. We're adding to it all the time. Our original goal was 25,000 downloads. I was happy to announce that last week we accomplished that 2 weeks ago, and now we are up to close to 34,000 downloads. Almost 25,000 people have downloaded our different career paths, career training. 7,000 or more people have downloaded our educational systems, and my personal book on there. There's been over 800 people have downloaded that book. So we're just excited to be here, and I'm thrilled to have my guests. Jeff, welcome to the live stream. And if you want to share about your story and what everything is all about going on in your world. And I believe it's 10 p.m. where you are, isn't it, Jeff?
A little bit later. It's just after midnight.
Oh, okay.
But I'm excited to be here and more than happy to stay awake.
Perfect. Perfect. So you've got a really cool website. Tell us all about that and tell us your story, how you got here. Just for our audience's sake, I've got two guests. They're both going to take about 10 minutes to kind of share their experience and their inspiration. And Jeff's got a really amazing program that he's doing, which I want everybody to hear about. And so, Jeff, tell us about yourself, your program, and share your light with us, please.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the founder and CEO of The Laughing Otter. I started this company about 4 years ago to be a multimedia and entertainment and events company, with the idea that it really has just a simple goal, and that's to make the world a happier place and just give people reasons to be positive and connect. Where it started was really, I looked around about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and all I saw was just this increase in depression, anxiety, stress, and just with social media and 24/7 news, everything that people were consuming was always negative. Was all negative, and there was a lot of a lot of topics over the last kind of 15, 20 years that have been really polarizing. And so I looked around, I just saw that people are just miserable. And then just on a personal level, I had a friend of mine who hung himself, and another one who drank himself to death, and a third one who tried really hard to do the same. And I just thought, well, this has got to change. And just in my own personal head, I was tired of being in the corporate world. I had a reasonable career going, and I just went, now the last third of my career has got to be about making this world a better place. And for me, I just like having fun. So I thought, okay, well, what can I do here? So I started creating the Laughing Otter, and it's started to evolve. It started with creating a website that has nothing but positive content and good news stories. And then it just expanded out to multimedia. So if you look on any of the Laughing Otter social platforms, it's all fun, it's all positive. We started, and then now we do events. If the painting behind me was created at an event in LA, which brought a bunch of guitarists together, and they each contributed to this live painting. That event had got about 40 to 50 million views online, and it was all just about great people coming together from all over the world and playing music. So that's the vision of the Laughing Otter, and it really just it stems from just like a lifelong belief that life doesn't have to be this hard. It really should be a lot easier. There's enough food and water on this planet for everybody to never have to worry about that. There's enough things to do that everybody should have a job that's capable of doing one. We create these artificial reasons to be angry and to be divisive, and we end up having these conversations and these arguments and about stuff that's really quite trivial, where we really should be, like what you're doing and what everybody on this call is hopefully doing, is coming together and talking about what, like, instead of arguing about something that's fabricated, we should be talking about where are we going to go eat, where are we going to go watch some music, where are we going to create some art, what are we going to do that's fun, how are we going to help each other, how are we going to advance humanity. That's the kind of conversations we need to have, and the activities that we should be doing. And I'm hoping with the Laughing Otter that at least in my universe, I can help promote that and help things move along. And like I said, bring people together and show people that we're all really the same. And that's a really, within the Laughing Otter, we embed a lot of giving back and social conscience into everything we do. We try to, well, yesterday is a perfect example. The Laughing Otter, we put a team together for a great organization called Blue Dragon Children's Foundation. And I walked 21 kilometers for the cause. And today I spent the day being very selective on how many times I went up and down the stairs because I could barely walk today, but all for a great cause. And it was, but again, it was all part of the Laughing Otter philosophy, but also just in general, just collaborating with really great people who are trying to make a difference and doing good in the world. Because despite what the media likes to tell us, we all, like, the majority of the people are good people. It doesn't matter what country you're talking about or what neighborhood, people are good. I've had the luxury and the privilege to be able to travel quite a lot, just personally and with work. I've never, well, I'll praise it this way. The biggest difference I've seen in people from different countries and cultures and backgrounds is nothing. Everybody's exactly the same. It doesn't matter if you're in the US, you're watching football and drinking a Budweiser. If you're in India, you're watching cricket and you're drinking Kingfisher. If you're in Australia, you're watching footy and drinking a Carlton. And everybody wants to work less, hates their government, and thinks we pay too much taxes. It doesn't matter what country you're in, we're all having the same conversations. And we all love our kids. We all think it's stupid that children have to die for rocks. and the ideology of a handful of people. We all want the best for our neighbors. Well, everywhere I've been, if you ask somebody for help, they'll help you. So if we can all just keep this idea and ignore what the media who profit on hate, and the politicians and the leaders who profit on hate, if we just start, we ignore them, we'll all just have a lot of fun, because it doesn't matter what country you go to, everybody's the same. So yeah, it's that's really the vision of Laughing Otter. It's simple. Our motto is find your happy, and we try to give you reasons to be happy. Um, but yeah, if it really, I encourage people to just look for the positive in life, because there's a lot out there, despite what uh, the amount of hate and anger that people who profit from it try to drive down our throats.
Very good. So
Yeah.
tell me real quick, Laughing Otter, you're online, just how it sounds. So people
Yeah.
can go, they can visit. So in closing, what would be your message to everybody listening? What should they go out and do today? I say to people, we transcend a lot of things. We're here about talking about our today and tomorrow. How can we make our today better? How can we make others tomorrow better? What would you share with people?
Right. And that's great, because it is one of my soapbox rants that I get on all the time. Is there is this narrative that flows through society, that is, you will be happy if, or you will be happy when you're making more money, you're fitter, smarter, better, going to more expensive restaurants and more exotic places in a faster car with better looking people. That's when you'll be happy. There's this idea that somehow there's this ideal life that you should achieve before you're allowed to be happy. But the reality is, when you go around the world and you meet a lot of people, nobody is all that special. Everybody's exactly the same, and regardless of what car they're driving, they're still having the same problems as everybody else. So my message to everyone is, love the person you are today, the life you have today, and be happy with what today, because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. So stop waiting for the future to be happy, and try to be happy today. And I know that's not easy. And I know that there are challenges. And I know there's a lot of obstacles that people have to go through. But as much as you can, there is no utopia of who you are, the utopian you that's in the future. The utopian you is you today. And yeah, try to love the person you are today. And remember, you deserve to have a lot more fun and just enjoy your life.
Very good. Jeff, thank you so much. The gentleman you did that walk for, you referred him to me, and he's going to actually be our guest on December the 1st. I look forward to meeting him myself. I'm going to be talking with him later this week, and I really appreciate that referral for sure. So,
Yeah,
sir,
he's
thank you. Go
yeah,
ahead.
he's an amazing guy who is doing so much good in stopping human trafficking. And one of his CEO, which I met on yesterday, was started out as a street kid in Vietnam, and Michael brought him off the street. So he'll be, I encourage everyone to listen in, because he's really inspirational.
Very good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, sir. Laughing Otter, we'll make sure that everybody on this call has access to that. And thank you from Australia. Thank you for staying up and joining us. And we really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
thanks for having me, and I'm definitely gonna stick around and listen in. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest.
very good. Thank you. Thank you. So, one of the things we do here at Project Smile is that we constantly are looking for prolonged caregivers. And Jeff is an example of a prolonged caregiver. The gentleman he was talking about is an example of that. People that have had a passion to truly help and be on the ground supporting the world to become a better place. And our next guest, Lebu, I actually met her. She was a TEDx presenter in South Africa. You've heard my story a lot. I talk about the travels coming back from South Africa and how powerful it was for me. And she was one of the people on stage. When I listened to her presentation, I just genuinely connected with what she had to say. And I'm thrilled that she's our guest today. So, ma'am, take it away. Tell us your story, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sanbonani, and no, today I'm not singing because I opened up my TEDx with a song. It's a long story, which I won't get into. I'm just so happy I don't have to sing today. But I'm very, very honored to be here with you, Mr. Joe. Really, thank you so much for this platform and the incredible work and word that you are spreading globally. So I'm pretty much very thrilled to be here with you. Mr. Jeff, I really was inspired by your speech that you gave just now as well. And just to go back to what you were saying about people being the same, we are all the same, we're not different. I think I really saw what you have echoed during the COVID period, right? It didn't matter if you were rich or poor, black, brown, purple, or pink. COVID was a real threat and life-threatening situation for all of us alike. And that for me just struck a chord to say we are all the same. I mean, I've always known it, but COVID just kind of painted it and said we're all the same. We're all going to die. But anyway, so Project Smile and why I'm here is because the ethos really resonates within me very much deeply, right? To enrich, to encourage, and to empower. It has struck a chord in my soul because this is something that I have been trying to do quietly and consistently throughout my whole life, right? So a little bit about me and where I'm from. I was born in Soweto, which stands for Southwestern Townships. And this is where all the African people of South Africa were kind of segregated to, right? So it's a long story of like doom and gloom, but thank God we have now Project Otto or Laughing Otto to take away all the sensational bad news that we have, which I'm not going to get into. But I'm from Soweto, and this was a world where survival came before dreaming, right? But somehow I've always had a whisper calling me towards something more, despite the environment and the situation that I found myself in. I mean, for example, at 11 years old, I stood next to Utatu Nelson Mandela, which is our former president, the first Black president of South Africa. And I spoke about children's rights at the age of 11. And my outfit that I wore when I met this great man who is actually a global leader and loved across the world by everyone, I wore an African traditional attire and I went with no shoes. So at the time, it seemed like a great idea, right? No shoes, but standing next to great Nelson Mandela, thinking about it now, it's like I really had Dutch courage to do that. But I think at that time I was walking in my purpose. So this is what gave me that courage and which gave me the confidence to speak and address such a man with an African attire, not a tiara, not a pageant queen acceptable outfit, but just barefoot and with my truth. And then fast forward to today, I'm actually a self-appointed corporate hippie. Basically, by day, I work in vaccine strategy for an MNC contributing to global health. And on weekends, I run actually a sacred wellness retreat called Forest Lodge, the retreat, which is what I'm going to focus on here today. It's this place is so magical, right? It's tucked away in the majestic Magaliesberg, which is near the cradle of humankind. So the cradle of humankind are where the first remains or eldest remains of our ancestors Homo sapien naledi or were found. So literally this is 10 minutes away and filled with so much history of who we are, where we are from, right? And for me, it just whispers a lot of secrets of those days. So this place that I call Forest Lodge, and where I really am myself and have kind of opened up to my true purpose, is a space where people can come to heal, to reconnect with nature, and remember themselves, right? And this is basically what I had based my TED talk on, the corporate hippie, answering a calling that you have postponed for too long. So it's really about remembering who we were before we were told who we should be, right? And so the message from me, for me, from that, in terms of my whole journey and the purpose that I'm kind of living out loudly now, is that you don't have to choose between corporate excellence and your spiritual truth. You can actually return the voice within yourself and be who you are meant to be, and not trying to fit a mold which is not you, right? And for me, it's like it speaks to both prayer and lighting impepo. So impepo is like white sage smudge stick. I use that a lot. It's also about having the courage to be both in the boardroom and stepping into a river barefoot, listening to the whispers of the river. Sometimes I'm a little bit afraid of the rivers because they carry people away. Water is a very strong, sacred, ancient matter, which I take very seriously. And also just being able to go through strategy documents during the day. You should see me during the day. I'm like, yeah, let's market that, let's do this. And then I'm talking to trees like, oh, how are you today, my tree? Thank you for the shade. Thank you for earth. Thank you for life. Thank you for oxygen, etc. And if you're wondering, I'm a self-appointed corporate hippie, but I also pray. So I believe that spirituality and religion are not opposites. They're the same thing for me, right? Whether it is God, Allah, the universe, or the ancestors, the essence is the same. It's about love. It's about light. It's about alignment, right? And so we don't have, just like you said, Mr. Jeff, we're all the same and we all are doing the same thing, but we name it differently. So one of the things that I'm actually proud of is that this work that has always been in me long before I even stood on the TEDx stage, long before I even stood next to Madiba barefooted, is that I've shown up to teach, to mentor, to pour into others through giving back, right? So when I was younger, I used to actually give to service. I didn't have money, so I couldn't donate monetary value, but I donated through service. I would go and help at orphanages, at underprivileged resource schools, by painting classrooms, by babysitting, by playing with the children. And of course, as I grew older and was able to get access to some technology or computers or education, I shared that through my weekly segment on UJFM in terms of upskilling and giving knowledge to the youth of South Africa. And so for me, giving back is not just about charity, it's about sustainability. So at Forest Lodge, for example, we source from local farmers, we employ the local community, and we also give some knowledge and secrets of ancient histories or ancestral whispers to the community. We don't always charge. Of course, it's good to charge because this is how we actually upkeep the property or the space for everyone to enjoy. But basically, this is why Project Smile speaks so strongly to me, right? It's not just about being successful, being in a boardroom, having lots of money. It's about actually contributing. It's about giving back. It's about reaching someone through the power of your truth. And if we all could just stop ignoring the whisper and listen to the purpose of who we are and what we are meant to be, and it was highlighted earlier that we are all inherently good, we could do so much to the world. We could give back so much, and we would all literally be happy. So that is basically me.
You're awesome. So, Lebo, I got a question for you, right?
Yeah.
So, your life today sounds really cool. Sounds like you've got things going on. You know, you live as monetarily, you're doing well. you've got a new business. I love the Forest Lodge. I can hardly wait to be one of your patrons there. And you grew up in modest means. You kind of skipped over that. I heard it earlier on this call right now. There's the possibility of 20,000 young people that are probably under the age of 20. A lot of them are probably right now they're saying, "Gosh, I wish I could be her someday," but they're not you yet. They're in that spot where you were as a little girl, but there was something in you that kept guiding you, and now today your external world mirrors that voice. I call it divinity. You call it ancestors, which I love. Share to that point. Think about this. Let's just say there's 10 young females on this call right now that are 15 years or younger. Are there people around them? And they're saying, how can I live what she's accomplished? How did you connect to that voice, and how did you follow it? Share to those 10 young females.
Yeah, thank you for that question, actually, which is something that I have just obviously over the years have learned to listen to the inner voice. But what I would say to the younger version of myself, or the 10 young females, or the 10,000 young mix of children or youth listening, is you don't have to wait to be chosen. You already are, and you are enough, right? You don't need permission to lead. You just need the courage to listen to that whisper, that little voice inside our head where they'll say, "Oh my God, she's crazy. She has voices inside her head and she's listening to them." It's okay. Be different. Be the black sheep. Listen to those voices, right? Let your life be the offering. Let your work be the ripple effect, and let your voice be the reason someone else remembers who they are. So that's what I would say to the young people who are listening and watching.
Thank you so much. Thank you both. Thank you both. Lebo, I really appreciate it. And Jeff, I really appreciate your time, both of you. You're very inspiring. I look forward to visiting both of your countries. Jeff, I've never been to Australia. That's definitely on my bucket list. Lebo, South Africa is a place in my heart that I will never forget. People like yourselves. I described my experience when I was in South Africa as one of those that I just didn't even know a place like this was available. Everybody's eyes are clear. Everybody's heart is full. I just never been around it. And, when I was listening to your TED Talk, I remember thinking, I agreed with everything you said. And the package in which we show up in, right, is different. I say it to people all the time. We're created in God's image, not this physical thing. This is the bodysuit, that spiritual sense of self. And you totally shined on that stage down there. I really appreciate this. Jeff, thank you so much. So thank you both. We are here at a period of time where we literally have the opportunity to change the world. And I know that metaphor sounds a little magical. Well, it is magical. And I can give you some reasons why this is the time. We are the generation of change. I say to people all the time, dream big dreams. Well, I have a dream. And what is my dream? My dream is to expose enough people to the exact message that both Jeff and Lebo shared. If you took their accents out and you didn't have their faces here and you didn't have my face, our message is identical. We're literally on 3 different points of the globe, but the message is the same. And that message is there's a divine sense of self inside. Go live it. And how do we transcend religion is because I see religion as more your style of your afterlife. That's fabulous. That is not my message. My message is, how are you living today? How are you going to live tomorrow? How can you make a difference today and tomorrow? How do you live your highest sense of self, and how do you know you're doing it? That's what I always say. Look around the room. If you're creating a smile on somebody else's face, if you're causing laughter in somebody else's voice, if you're helping somebody else, then by definition, you're living in the highest sense of yourself in that moment in time. You are. Now, we all have our highs and lows. We all have it where we're really connected and not. And if you're here on this call, you're going to start hearing people more like Lebo, where she said, I heard a voice. The man Praise, and Lebo, I don't know if you remember Praise, but Praise was the tour guide who traveled from Tanzania to South Africa because he was friends with a couple of the other guests. And Praise said to me after the TED, he says, yeah, when I was a kid, I was 12 years old, I heard voices. He said, my whole village thought I was crazy. And, he tells that story, and I've told the story 1,000 times, but he tells the story on how, because he followed that voice basically guided him on how to become a tour guide. Now, today, I call that voice his divine self. People will call it intuition. People will call it God. I don't care what you call it, but listen for it. And how do you know when you're hearing it? It's the voice of encouragement. Jeff talked about where the media and the world is talking about all these doom and gloom and hate and anger and separation message. Those are messages of glass empty. If you find and listen to your glass full voice, the voice that's going to be all inclusive, the voice that says, I think I can, the voice that says, maybe we will, the voice that says, keep moving, that voice, it's going to be an encouraging voice. And that voice doesn't change your life in the moment. It doesn't change your external world instantaneously, but it puts you on a path that the more you follow it, the more you attract things into your life that are going to create the external world to mirror your internal self. It just is. Project Smile was really created, and Avril, the president of Project Smile, he has a powerful experience. He's in his mid-20s now. He tells the story in India where he was in high school, almost got kicked out of school because he was reading a book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So at 15 years old, this young person was wanting to expand, wanting to become bigger, wanting to expand his knowledge. Well, the systems of the day, and I'm not critical of anybody, but the systems of the day really didn't know how to handle that, except they're going to throw him out of school. They didn't, thank goodness, but he pursued his dream. When I brought this idea about Project Smile, he was all over it. And I'm here to tell you, it's Avril and his team, the staff that puts together this live stream. Technology is not my thing. My thing is a message, is a voice. I'm creating friends around the globe now that have the same message and voice. Though without Avril and his team, I've got 2 Mateshas that I work with. These men are just brilliant, and they come together with all of the technology, which allows our voices to reach the masses. While we were on this call right now, Avril sent me a message reminding me to tell everybody that one of the components that we're putting on Project Smile is a language component. We've got 6 different languages that we're going to have on Project Smile, which is going to teach people English. And so basically, whatever language you are, we're creating programs that people can go there and you'll be able to learn English. As we get bigger, as we get more funded, as we expand Project Smile the way we plan to, we'll have multiple programs, and somebody that might live in South Africa who wants to learn Spanish will be able to, or Chinese to Portugal, or whatever it is. Today, we have to start where we're starting. Over time, we'll have all combinations of language. Why? Because one of the barriers, quite honestly, between cultures is the ability to communicate. I say that we are the generation of change because truly there's 4 components in humanity today that weren't there 15, 20 years ago. Wealth is a perfect example of it. There's more wealth that moves through our world in 1 hour than used to be all money in the world 100 years ago. Think about that. More wealth in an hour than used to exist. I say all the time, 1% one time. 1% one time for the global wealth, and all of Africa has water. I did the math. I heard there's 400 million people. Well, if per 4,000 people, if it costs $5,000, $6,000 for a well, and two to 4,000 people could have water, it's only a couple $1 billion. And a couple $1 billion relative to the global economy, 1 year, it's 1/1000th of 1%. Do that math. 1/1000th of 1%, and all dirty water issues in an entire continent could go away. Well, that didn't exist 15, 20 years ago. The technology where Praise lives in the Tanzania to drill a well 500 feet deep like it has to be there, it didn't exist 20 years ago. It does today. Technology as a concept is so different. We're on a call right now. 2 weeks ago, we had 50,000 people on the call. I don't know where we are now, but there's a bunch. And we're communicating globally. I'm in US. Lebo's in South Africa. Jeff is in Australia. We're talking to each other. I see Lebo shaking her head up and down because we're communicating literally live, and she's 10,000 miles away because of technology. It didn't exist before. When I gave one of my caregivers the beginning of the caregivers, Mr. Ben, he's on here now. He asked for $50. He had that money in 5 minutes. In 2 hours, I had a video of 22 children who don't have parents thanking me. And that was just something that really struck me. I realized that it's a smaller world. The concept of prolonged caregivers. We've had people on this call, and the gentleman who's going to be our guest December the 1st, I don't remember his first name. He's with the Blue Dragon organization. He's been doing that a while. I saw his picture. He's not that old, which tells me 15, 20 years ago, he was guided to do this, or 10. He'll tell us his story, but he's still doing it 10 years later, 15 years later. And he's got an amazing success story, and his world is Vietnam. And that's a powerful thing. And literally what it means is that, in my opinion, most, if not 99% of the challenges in the globe that can be solved with money, dirty water, medicine, broken arms, that type of stuff can be solved with money. And it can be done because prolonged caregivers already know where the majority of these communities are. The only gap between those communities having what they need is money. And the last thing I will say as I close this call, we are in what's called Generation Lap. And that's a concept where, when I heard it for the first time, it kind of struck me. The children of today are wiser, smarter, and more connected than ever before. Most children know more about technology than their parents. It's the first time in human history where the kids know more than the parents. My kids are a perfect example. I've got an elite athlete. I've got a son who I call a modern day Mozart. My son Ryan's ability to play the piano is beyond normal. It's extreme. Well, how does he have that? Because he's connected to that spiritual part of himself. So we as humanity are going through a spiritual evolution, if you will, into the next phase of human consciousness. We are. And from that position, when we move from a place of gratitude to a place of grace, that's how the world heals. The other part of the Generation Lap is that there's a whole world, there's a whole entrepreneurial world of people, which consist of millions and millions and millions of entrepreneurs who have made more money in shorter periods of time than ever before in human history. And what happens with those people, they're 40, 50, 60 years old. They've lived a life of gratitude based on accomplishment. Now they're sitting there at 55 years old, more money than they knew what to do with. Their family is launched, their houses are paid for, they've got that third car, and they're asking what's next. Well, in the past, what next was always accomplish more. Well, now what's happening for people is they're connecting to that divine sense of themselves, that higher sense of self. And the action step of your higher sense of self, or your divine sense of self, is the act of giving. Our humanity is more that part, especially when we're living from a higher place. Humanity is more the part of accumulating, of creating gratitude, of doing good things and feeling grateful for it. But then eventually you reach a place where you transcend that. You connect to a higher sense of you, and the action step of that divine part of yourself is to give back. My book, We, is a perfect example of that. Along the banner here, there's a website. Go visit it and download my books for free. My books will always be available for free. I'm doing the books, and anybody that buys it, my books are one of the primary fundraisers for Project Smile. And it's one of those things to where my dream is literally in that position to where we just have to continue to share the message. We just have to continue to put it out there. If you see my background, for most people that don't know, that's a puzzle. I have a puzzle behind me that's over 18,000 pieces. It's 10 feet long by 7 feet high. And people ask me, Joe, how did you do that? I said, the cliche, one piece at a time. But really how I did it is I never had the expectation of time. I just knew I was going to do it till I was finished. Well, that's what Project Smile is. Our goal for downloads is 1 million. And you know what we're going to do as soon as we hit 1 million downloads? We're going to go for the second million. How do I know that we are the generation of change and we can literally create a voice big enough and raise enough people into that higher sense of self? Because it's already happening for people. I'm just creating a message and a platform where, like Lebo, like Jeff, like others, like millions of people out there now, you're already in that sense. Each one of our guests today are living it in their own ways. If you listen, they didn't say one thing about receiving. They said everything. Their entire message was about giving back. Well, and Lebo made a great point, and this is so true. Giving back for some is a financial, but for the majority, it's a gift of giving. It's a gift of giving of yourself, of service. And someone asked me, because I'm going to Dubai next month, I'm going to be in a group of billionaires. Like, these people are wealthy people, but not just wealthy in bank accounts. They're wealthy in abundance. Their hearts are full. And one of the ways that this entire community really feels a sense of joy and love in God is they have the financial wherewithal to give back. Well, people ask me, well, are people that give money more connected to God than people that aren't? I'm like, no, God is God. How do I transcend all religion? Monolithic God. Lebo said it perfectly. All religions, the foundation of all religion is love and giving back. That's it. How you get it in your day-to-day practice, that's up to you. Perfect. I support it all. And living from a sense of self, living from that sense of higher self is what changes everything. It continues to change you, and it changes the community around you. Your divine self isn't measured by the act of dollars and cents or service. It's measured by your communion with the conscious intent of sharing back, of giving back. And that's what Project Smile is. So for everybody on this call, one of the ways you can help us, how am I ever going to reach 1 million downloads? I need everybody on this call to share this message, share these live streams, get on my Instagram, get on my YouTube channels, get out there and share the message of what we're doing here. We want to get this call up to 1 million people per 2 weeks. We'll come back again on October the 1st. The man I have on here, his name is Dan Miller. He's a global traveler. He's an amazing speaker. Lebo, you met Dan down in South Africa as one of our speakers down there. He's become a pretty good friend. And our goal here, inspirational stories. Well, I don't know about everybody watching, but I was truly inspired by what Mr. Jeff said and Miss Lebo said. It's just, I'm the one that gets the gift. I get to hear these amazing stories. And for the people watching, how can you help me? Be one of our smile givers. How are we changing the world one smile at a time? It's because creating a smile isn't about income. Creating a smile is about connection. Creating a smile is about communion. And the more connected and the more incensed you are with your higher sense of self, that part of you that wants to create the smile, the more smiles you create, the more communion happens, the more healing happens. And together, we change the world one smile at a time. So everybody, thank you for being here. Jeff and Lebo, thank you again. I genuinely appreciate your time. For everybody listening, thank you. I'm telling you, we had 50,000 people. I don't know where we are today. I'm sure there's a lot of people, but it's because of everybody watching. The world is watching. I'm starting to get more and more people that are asking about this whole concept, right? We're going to reach a spot to where everybody's going to want to be on this call. We're going to reach 1 million people or more. And it all happens because of the people listening, going out and living their highest sense of self. Are you in physical challenge? I'm sure some of you are. Are there financial challenges? Yeah, we all have them. And you can still create a smile. And by doing that, as a community, as Project Smile is growing, everything is changing. I have a dream. And my dream is to help enough people remember who they truly are, which is that divine sense of self. And as enough people remember that, the open hearts of people are how humanity heals. And together on this program, we're doing that one smile at a time. So everybody, thank you for being here. And we look forward to everybody coming back to us next 2 weeks, October the 1st at 10 a.m. So until then, I love you all. I wish I could hug every one of you. And someday, if you see me on stage and you've been on one of these calls, please come up and introduce yourself. And I genuinely appreciate everybody being on this call. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.